project. Here we go, continuing on with the project. This is Anwr, the 1002 area. It's not the whole area, but this is the area where they want to drill. As you can see, it's a small area, not a lot smaller than, say, the NPR-A area. This is how it looks on Google Earth. That area. Now, it is completely different type of land to drill on, and it's not easy to find out where exactly they want to drill, but it's more in this area over here, though technically this is the 1002 area what they're talking about drilling in. And you can see this area right here, and that's just part of Anwr. Okay, to give you a little idea about the NPR-A versus Anwr, you can see that here. The section that is open for oil development is the 1002 area. This is wilderness area. This is the whole park. This is the smallest part. This is Prudhoe Bay. That's how big Prudhoe Bay is. Across this our upper coastal line on the Arctic Ocean here. So you can see when you really go drill oil, the area you find it is very small. Do you think that if it was only there or wasn't only there, they would go and drill out here? Well, there may be, except you have to also get roads out there, pipelines, things like that. So you want to go one direction or you want to go the other. Ironically, Obama has chosen to go left. Now, if McCain would wise up, because he should know better. He's old enough to know what needs to be done, except that he follows Mo Udall, and who was an ideologist about Alaska. In fact, Jimmy Carter and Mo Udall locked all this area up as a lame duck president. So you can't tell me that lame duck presidents can't do things. Depends on who they have in Congress. The Republicans may not be able to, Bush may not be able to do anything this time, but Jimmy Carter certainly is a lame duck president during an energy crisis, locked up this area, which could have been open. So you could have a pipeline from here to here, and you probably wouldn't be going through this. And I don't care how many houses Jimmy Carter builds, he will never, in my mind, make up for the expensive heat and energy cost of all the other households in the United States, which he didn't help build. And that's what bothers me about Jimmy Carter. And he also didn't get the hostages back. But you can see, don't get me off on that. Anyhow, that's what I want to show. What his Anwr is basically a smaller area. It's the 1002 area of Anwr that would be drilled in. Okay, this is another same report picture. Here's a National Petroleum Reserve. Up here, oil 10.6 billion barrels, gas 61 trillion cubic feet. That's where the gas will come from. Here's the North Slope, Central. Oil, 4 billion barrels. Here's Anwr in the little area right here, 10 billion barrels. Only 2/10 of the barrels less for this area as opposed to this area. Now, when they go and use this, it's unsure if there's any oil there. The only place they found it is, of course, up here in the Colville area. But here's the gas estimated to be 3 trillion cubic feet. That's like 3 trillion, almost 4 trillion basketballs. But who's counting? And here's another thing they do not tell you about the NPR. Here's the Wilderness Society's page. The Interior Department defers controversial leasing at Teeskapuk Lake. Hope I pronounced that right. We have so many different names up here, it's hard. But this is this year. And the Secretary of Interior I think it's Dick Kempill from a state I was raised in, Idaho, who hurts the next state I'm in. They go and they say they will defer additional oil and gas leaking along the Tishipuk Lake in Northeast National Petroleum Reserve, the NPR-A, for at least 10 years. And this is from a lawsuit. This is what's really causing a lot of problems, are these lawsuits up here for global warming. Protected every administration, recognizing the international appointment, which has been by ever since Jimmy Carter was president. Even though this action falls short of permanent protection, we are pleased that they're now taking it off the table for oil and gas leasing. What in the world are the Democrats talking about when the Interior Department, who has actually taken over from the Department of Energy 3 of the 4 national petroleum reserves? So, when they start to talk about this, you go, this is Eleanor Huffing's Alaska Regional Direction. We got, believe me, these are the only Alaskans, if they are really called Alaskans. I want to check their permanent fund check, see if they get one from the oil companies, and I'm proud of it. But they can say she thanks Secretary Kempill for responding to the outpouring public opposition to oil gas leasing in the Tishipuk wetlands. The decision leaves the immediate threat of leasing so that conservationists, subsistence users, scientists, and sportsmen so they can work to secure permanent protection. That is the goal, which is part of the balanced approach to oil and gas development in the larger NPR area. So, this is why things aren't going. And we try to open up something, and of course, then it gets sued. So, and I suppose they will not stop at that point, but Congress has to sit in there and just say, hey, we're going to do this. This is the way it is. But if they don't want to, then, hey, you know what? I got enough food up here, I got enough gas, and I hate to feel that way, but I don't like to see all of you suffering over things that are really the government's in the way of your life. And that's what you got to understand. Now, in fairness, it says the 10-year deferral of leasing in the Tishipuk wetlands is only an administrative action. Can be changed by future administrations. Well, okay, but the problem is it went through the lawsuit process, and when change administrations, you have to change the laws that this was basically brought under. So this is where they scheduled the lease sale around there, and so when they're in 2006, and they just a federal district judge vacated it, and so they ended up saying they had opposition to that. Public comments. But you know what? They don't tell you where the public comments are. These people send out things to everybody, and what happens is they're not Alaskans. 150,000 of us out of 500,000, that's like almost every man, woman, and child. Well, not quite. 1 in 4, which is a lot. So, and I bet you I don't even know how to pronounce the lake. Never heard of it other than through the actions on the news. And yet there's 150,000 public comments? Come on. And it says a breeding habitat and 1 million migratory birds. Well, you know what? That's cool. That's great, except that they sue on everything. And if they just sued on that area, I mean, if you saw the area, you can look at that on the part 1. There are more than enough. We do not destroy our land. So, what else can I say other than just show you some things here? I guess I can't let this go without saying this. Here's what the Wilderness Society does and what we have to deal with all the time. Tell Congress not to drill in the Arctic refuge. And then they even show you the subject, dear decision maker, here's a letter I'm writing to urge you to stand firm with your drill no in the bill. And you can go to the wilderness.org action. But they say they won't take money from oil companies. you can bet their bottom dollar they're taking money from these people.